when you're trying to grow your portfolio and you have the kind of cash flow that you're getting on short-term rentals, I know you on the show, every time you come on the show on Short-Term Rental Secrets podcast, you're talking about refinancing, you're talking about that. I'm curious, is there any type of financing that you feel is non-traditional when it comes to short-term rentals? And the reason I'm saying this is it cash flows like an untraditional asset, but I'm sure it's seen as a comparable as a, traditional asset. So I'm curious, is there financing out there that you've heard of? How does one go from one to the other? Just, hey, stack up, pour it into the next deal, as we know, because again, we're always trying to understand, and maybe it's how we understand things, but maybe there's another model that you understand that you're aware of that we don't know.
I mean, I think I said this the other day. The beauty with real estate is that there are so many ways to skin an apple, right? Yeah. And the more you know about it, the more ways you see. So one of the units that I bought was an owner financing deal. I literally offered a guy $5,000 down payment. You know what I mean? Like, this was a rental arbitrage client of mine. He wanted me to switch to a management model. I didn't want to, but all he cared about is that he wanted consistent payment. I'm like, okay, so I'll give you $5,000. Hold a note for me. Give me a note, right? We have somebody on the show, Noah Hoffman, that does subject to deal. So he buys properties, assuming the loan that is on it, and then just owns the property free and clear and does vacation rentals with it, right? So there is all types of ways that you can go about this, really. You know what I mean? And then the big thing that is happening, and a big change that I see in the future when it comes to vacation rental, is on the lending side of things. The lending, as being a big machine, it takes a little bit longer to understand the nuances of new businesses. So the one problem that you are going to have when you grow, and especially if you're buying a lot of your properties and then you're trying to refinance them, is that a lot of banks, traditional banks especially, there's some new one coming out right now, don't look at our business, the vacation rental business, as a factor towards. So what I mean by that is that they're going to run it as a long-term rental. So sometimes you won't qualify. That's changing. I think that's going to keep on changing as our business is really improving and showing that it's here to stay. But that is where my struggle comes in at times, is because I make all this money and they're like, yeah, but our underwriters. Well, can I talk to your underwriters? Like, can we
show them the numbers, show them the juice.
But the problem with that business, it's a box with shapes on them. And that's all underwriters know how to do. Yeah. It's like, okay, that's a circle. It fits in a circle, right? Yeah. And I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, no, you did. It's creative. And this is why you talked about education, creative financing. And another thing I want to make a note of, because that's something that I've been hearing a lot frequently, is some of these lenders, with the whole Freddie Mac thing, like they're a little dependent on some requirements that are, that will allow them to resell the loan as well. So their hands are a little bit tied, because I know for them, it's more profitable for them to be able to resell a loan. Right. And that's why, so sometimes you have 100%. To abide by those rules. And even if they are maybe progressive, it's just, that's now you're understanding it's a different animal, a different conversation.
Yeah. And I think on that point, if you are going to be doing something like that, finding a portfolio lender, aka a small local bank that does not resell their loan, that gives them a little bit more flexibility. There are some great local banks in pretty much any part of the country. But again, it goes back to education, because if you don't know what you're going to ask about, there's nothing for you to do.